All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching me across the states in Nigeria. I feel we have not started reinventing ourselves with our reality, and reinventing ourselves means examining the obvious circumstances of our environment and realigning ourselves to the change of our environment. I still deeply think we are addressing our problems, in this country with a limited school of thought, whereas there are possibilities to solutions abound that we haven't yet tapped into. Again, let me welcome you to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, your chief host, your chief executive, your producer, your scriptwriter, name it. I wear many caps on this platform, but again, many thanks for joining me in. Let's quickly hear what on this day in history segment has for us. When I return, we'll be hearing a word from my sponsor. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. My takeaway from on this day in history segment today is a reflection on this historical moment. It's evidence on how deeply political allegiance and will I say national loyalties can influence national discourse and stability. And I must say that the tension between the northern elders and former President Goodluck Jonathan, at the time, their supporters at the time, highlights the persistence, in terms of the regional divides in Nigeria. But today, we are fostering unity and focusing on inclusive governance, which is crucial to overcome all these fractions or fractures that we have ongoing. And I think it's important for me to emphasize that we need to ensure that equitable development across all regions can help mitigate such divisive sentiment and promote a more coherent national identity or identification amongst individuals. I think that's my takeaway on this day in history segment. It's important for us to get a message from my sponsors. When I return, we'll dive straight to the conversation. But first, I think we'll have to play our guest profile as well. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me as we embark on today's discussion, reflecting on Nigeria's 25 years journey in democracy. It's crucial to recognize the diverse perspectives that have shaped this path, and Nigerians' return to civilian rule in 1999 was a landmark moment celebrated by many, both within the country and internationally. Figures like Olusegun Obasanjo, late former president, Musa Yar'Adua, Goodluck Jonathan, and current president Bola Ahmed Tinubu have been pillars of this democracy era, emphasizing the peaceful transition and reformative governance. On the live show today, we will have our real talk around the topic with concerns on the current democratic position of this country, its challenges, gains, and as well as the strides taken by the current administration, that's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government after 1 year in office. But before we delve into real talk with my guest, it's important for us to play his profile, and I'll be right back. Stay with me. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Let me use this opportunity to usher in my guest. Welcome to the show, Chief Bashorun Dele Momodu. It's a pleasure to have you on Real Talk with Kike today. How are you doing today, sir? Many thanks for creating time to do this with me.
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much, Kike. It's always a pleasure to be on your program. Thank you so much for inviting.
Honoring me always. Sir, let's dive straight to the topic at hand, because Nigerians see you as one of the vanguards who fought with pen and sword for the return of democracy in Nigeria. And you even had to flee on exile when the flight was hot. When I say flight, I mean fight. You know, what can you say about the 25 years journey from 1999 till date? You are a stakeholder in the democracy of our dear country today. What do you think would have changed in our country if the vision of the late MKO were fulfilled or alive or lived?
25 years on, I'm not sure if I want to say happy June 12th anniversary, or I want to say that regrettably, what we fought for are now being toyed with by Nigerian politicians. I'm also a politician, though I like to refer to myself as a part-time politician, but it's unfortunate that the very spirit of June 12th is now being toyed with. And we're all asking, hey, did we make a mistake? Or where are we? Today, it seems we have replaced military dictatorship with some semblance of civilian dictatorship. MKO Abiola wanted one nation. Today, we're more divided than ever. MKO Abiola's manifesto was farewell to poverty. Today, it is welcome to suffering. So, how do we deal with these issues? When most of those in power today, from the president down to the last man, was one of those who fought for this democracy. So I'm a bit confused as to how to deal with the situation on hand. And we can only appeal to the powers that be, that they should go back to 25 years ago when we all risked everything to fight for democracy in Nigeria, to ensure that this democracy does not collapse again. It's very easy for all of us to say, oh, we passed that stage, oh, then we fold our arms and do nothing. But the dangers ahead are always there. And it will take God's intervention for us to be able to sustain the rascality of the current political dispensation.
Sir, putting that aside, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 1 year in office is a continued journey in democracy. How would you assess the last 365 days of his administration, given the current economic circumstances? That's my first question. And my second question is the fact that, what do you consider to be the major setbacks and challenges that have hindered Nigeria's democracy progress over the past, well, let's say, quarter century?
Well, no matter what I say, because I'm in opposition, it's going to be considered like I am biased against the government. But I'm not. I'm supposed to be a friend of the government, but I'm not proud of the last 4 years. For example, I was shocked and stupefied when on the very first day of handing power over to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, instead of giving Nigerians a message of hope, good news of his kingdom or of his presidency, as the case might be, he just delivered a bazooka of a message by saying, yes, we yanked off subsidy from petroleum, and other things followed sporadically. And people feel, oh wow, that was a very callous way of starting a new government. even if you are going to remove the subsidy, you should have prepared. You should have prepared the minds of the people, and you could have done it in phases, not in one fell swoop. And now 1 year after, we are being told that, unfortunately, subsidy has been smuggled in through the back door, and nobody is talking. Nobody is telling us what the situation is currently with the subsidy. Electricity tariff have gone up more often than not. We're in darkness, and yet we are paying more. Of course, in the marketplace, I remember I was with my wife under 2 weeks ago, and we ordered for a basket of tomatoes. You will not believe it. What we got was just a third of the basket, and they were charging us 140,000 just for tomato. I'm not talking about pepper. I'm not talking about onions. I'm not talking about gari. I'm not talking about pork. I'm talking about just tomato. So if the minimum wage right now is on the average of about 30 plus naira, I do not know how our people are surviving. If the rich are also crying, then I wonder what is happening to the poor who labor day and night to make a living for themselves and their families. I don't know. So if you ask me to assess the last 1 year, I would say it has been a disastrous 1 year.
And I don't want to say I agree with you, because we both live in this country, and I know that there are quite a number of challenges we are going through right now regarding even the living condition of many Nigerians. But putting that aside, something came to mind while you were talking, sir, because a month ago, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who is one of the stakeholders of democracy in Nigeria, said adopting Western liberal democracy was a mistake. What do you think the former president means by that? What's your comment on this, please?
Well, I've always argued that the presidential system of government that we borrowed and adopted almost hook, line, and sinker from the United States cannot augur well for Nigeria in particular and Africa in general, because it is outlandishly expensive to run. Right now, we have a legislature where you have the Senate and you have the House of Representatives. Then in the states, you have the House of Assemblies. Then you have the local government. And everybody today is behaving like emperor. So it's so expensive. You can see the way money is being frittered away. Imagine the number of vehicles that you have to buy for all these political actors, when some people cannot even feed their own family. So I think the time has come for us to reassess, just like former President Olusegun Obasanjo advised. We need a reassessment of the present political system we have borrowed from abroad, and look for homegrown solutions. Some of the greatest countries on earth, they have their own system of government, which they believe will work for their nation. But in Nigeria, we are copycats. We copied the presidential system from America. We want to practice capitalism without having capital. It is dangerous. We cannot afford to practice capitalism when we lack the requisite capital to be able to sustain it.
All right, many thanks again for that elaborate submission. Sir, with all that you've shared thus far, many analysts say that our governance system is not suitable for our context in Africa, and that we should revert to the parliamentary system. I must ask you, because with all that, with the argument is that a parliamentary system the executive branch of it, you know, its legitimacy and the authority from the legislative branch is something that we must bring to fall. The head of the government, often the prime minister, is typically a member of the legislative and is accountable to it. Will this address the problem you think we are facing today in Nigeria?
Again, I will repeat what I have just said. Be it presidential, be it parliamentary, whatever we want to call it, we must design a system that works best for us. The reason we keep having problems with whatever system you have or whatever constitution is written is that we go abroad to copy those things when we can have our own homegrown solution, our homegrown system. For example, I was quite fascinated in the First Republic about how the kings, our monarchs, were integrated into the political system. The first black governor we had in Nigeria was Adesoji Aderemi, then on the office. And you see, these are the people who are closest to their people. They know the needs of their people. They understand the frustrations of their people. But a situation where you just pick someone because he has money, becomes a senator, and he comes around, you know, just bamboozling everybody, it's not going to work. So whatever system we choose going forward, it must be a system that will be homegrown and will be very useful, helpful to our people. Right now, our politicians are too distant from their people. And this will not. That's why when you see the labor union saying that they will not accept 50,000 naira minimum wage, you can't blame them. Because they see people who just a month or 2 months ago had nothing, suddenly become stupendously wealthy just because they are now in government.
In the political area.
So we need to fashion out a system that will reduce the wastage and the level of corruption that we have in Nigeria today.
Many thanks again for that. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, the conversation will continue. Stay with me, I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation has been an insightful discussion thus far. We've reflected on Nigeria's 25 years democratic journey with Chief Basharun Dele Momodu, who has highlighted significant achievements such as improved electoral processes and the strengthening of democratic institutions. And we've also examined persistent challenges, you know, including corruption and ethnic tensions, and how quite a number of people go into politics, you know, and they become rich after a while. So we've addressed the so many perspectives, but I will be moving into the need for a new constitution to address Nigerians' multi-dimensional crisis. As we continue, you know, I think it's important for us to delve deeper into the role of media and civil society, the role that they play in terms of shaping Nigeria's democratic future, and explore actionable steps to foster unity and progress. Again, I must say many thanks for staying with us, Chief Dele Momodu. You know, he is the chairman of Vision International, for all that you've shared thus far. And of course, for those who are streaming live and watching us on Facebook, remember that you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 0811-888-8113, and it's showing on your screen right now. And of course, we're streaming live on both Silverbird platform and Real Talk with Kike platform on Facebook. Sir, many thanks for all your insights. But I must ask you, because before coming into the studio, I stumbled on what Pa Adebanjo said, you know, and according to him, he feels that 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has been amended, or is a document that cannot, if I'm quoting him correctly, that cannot endanger peace or unity or progress for Nigeria. I think that was what I read before coming into the studio. But do you agree with Pa Adebanjo's assessments? You know, what are your thoughts on the necessity of, you know, drafting a new constitution for Nigerians' democratic future?
Well, I've had the honor and privilege of interacting with Baba a few times in his home in Lagos. And Papa Adebanjo is very passionate about the restructuring of Nigeria, which I support. But for me, I have a little difference from his views. And my difference is that the political actors we have in Nigeria are really not bothered about any constitution you bring. They disregard it, they flout the constitution in a way that is so reckless. So whichever constitution you bring, if the actors are not ready to enforce the letters of that constitution, we'll be back to square one. The one that we're complaining about that we have right now, have we even managed it well? It is not a completely useless constitution. I mean, Nigerians sat down to formulate that constitution. The people who are going to write the next constitution, they are still going to be part of these people who formulated the last one. So for me, how to reorientate our political class and plead with them to be more patriotic. Because if you are patriotic, you will reduce the excesses of the moment. It's so unfortunate that we have a constitution that we can manage for, but the managers themselves are destroyers, and they are the ones destroying the letters of that constitution. So, yes, Baba is right in calling for restructuring. Yes, nothing is perfect. We can make it perfect, but for as long as we have selfish, self-centered political actors, we are going nowhere. That is the thing. In fact, a lot of people are beginning to ask, is Nigeria changed? Or what exactly is the problem with our country that we keep going from one crisis to another? 25 years is a long time.
It's a long
That's
time.
a quarter of a century since
true.
June 12. All the issues that June 12 would have solved, they are back on the front burner. And it's just so sad.
Absolutely. Many thanks for that insight right there. But putting that aside, I want us to hold, let me bring it back to journalism, or will I say media and journalism can never be disconnected in our case of democratic journey. And as a prominent figure in journalism, how do you evaluate the role of the media in promoting and protecting democracy in Nigeria, sir?
I mean, you know that the Nigerian media has suffered a great deal in the hands of various political actors, whether military or civilian. But we continue to trudge on like the old Roman soldier. We continue to play our role very, very well, very confidently, very courageously. It is the bravery of the Nigerian media that I believe has sustained our democracy till date. We continue to bear the brunt, and government continues to blackmail us, to attack us, you know. And even some people, even in the civilian dispensation, are still kept in detention without trial. So we will continue to play our role because no leader has ever succeeded in enslaving Nigeria.
Sir, we can't deny the fact that ethnicity and tribalism have affected our democracy. You know, if it were left to some secessions would have occurred, there would have been quite a number of challenges with the fact that Nigerians would not remain as a whole. My question, I don't know how to frame this. How have ethnic and regional tensions influenced Nigeria's democratic journey thus far? And the reason why I'm asking you this question is the fact that I would like you to tailor it down to what strategies can be employed to foster national unity and political stability. That's the first question coming to mind. And the second question, because of time, is the fact that, you know, the African space has been hostile to democracy in recent times. You know, I try to keep it real on this platform with the event of coup and military taking overs, you know, in some African countries. How do you think that has impacted us? How does Nigerian democracy influence them as well? What's your take on these two questions, sir?
You see, what we call ethnicity in Nigeria is called the race factor in the United States. I don't think anybody can wipe that out. We can only minimize its influence. If you look at Nigeria today, the number one factor that determines who gets what is ethnicity. That's why we have the federal character. And so after that is religion. Then the overall is money. You need loads and loads of money to be able to finance and fund your campaign or whatever strategy you are employing. So for me, it's going to take a lot to change the way our people pick their leaders. If you look at the next election, people are already speaking about the North and the South. In fact, some people were using an excuse in the last election, it's the turn of the South. But seriously, for how long are we going to waste our energy and resources on ethnic-based politics? For me, the first consideration should be ability, should be a man who has a proven record, should be a man who knows his onions and is prepared for power and prepared to hit the ground running. It's not about where you come from. Yes, it's good for us to have a balance of where people come from, but it has failed us spectacularly. And yet, you will see professors, you will see intellectuals that you expect to understand that leadership is not just about politicking, it's about managing people and resources, and you bring people to run a nation, people who have never managed anything in their lives, people who just live perpetually on politics, no visible means of income. I think it's just unfortunate. So when you say, how do we, reduce or mitigate the influence of ethnicity, I think it is the biggest problem we have in Nigeria. Once people start talking about ethnicity, you see rational people, they just lose it. They just lose it.
All right. Many thanks again, sir. So this will be my last question to you because of time. Our democracy has its fair share of pains and gains. What are the gains that over 200 million Nigerians should be proud about and that should make them hopeful for the future of democracy in Nigeria?
You see, it's a very dicey question to answer because I can tell you that the challenges far outweigh the successes that we have recorded. But so let's start from saying at least today we do not have soldiers in power. We do not have what Fela used to call army arrangement. So now you and I are able to converse better. I express myself freely without the fear of a soldier tearing down my door tomorrow morning. As long as I am not reckless, I can live in Nigeria and express myself. And I've always done that. I've been in opposition for 42 years. I've never been in government. I support candidates based on my personal knowledge of them. Sometimes maybe we get it right. Oftentimes maybe we don't because of the peculiarities of our country. But I'm happy that I came back from exile and I am able to express myself. That expression is very key. Then freedom of association. The fact that I can choose to associate with whosoever I want without anybody coming to harass me, I think that calls for joy. But beyond all these cosmetic things, we need to have a homegrown democracy that will respect you and I, and that will bring progress and development to our nation.
Many thanks again for honoring my invitation. It's been an interesting time with you on Real Talk with Kike today. But before I let you go, there's the last segment of the show that I call Trending Stories. These are stories that affect us all as Nigerians. And my first trending story, sir, is the controversy that eats Temi Otedola that becomes African ambassador for L'Oreal in France. Let me use this opportunity to air my opinion. This is where I have a voice as an executive producer, as an anchor, as a producer, as a scripter, name it. This is where I have an opinion, sir. And let me first off, congratulate Temi Otedola on becoming the new L'Oreal Paris African Digital Brand Ambassador. And this marks a significant step forward, moving beyond the traditional career paths often expected of Africans, like doctors, like lawyers, and embracing roles such as models, brand ambassadors, influencing on the global stage. And it's crucial. I think I must emphasize that it's crucial for parents to recognize and nurture their children's unique gifts and talents as they grow. But this partnership not only elevates the African, or will I say the representation of African beauty on a global scale, but also reinforces the L'Oreal Paris commitment to diversity. And Temi joins as a lineup of illustrious ambassadors, highlighting our own unique style, our confidence. However, it's important to address some confusion that hit the socials in the last 24 hours, where Oluchi was indeed the first African model to feature in a L'Oreal campaign, and this underscores the need for will I say media, maybe I want to push the blame a little bit to media now, to ensure accuracy, to avoid unnecessary, controversies, because both Temi and Oluchi's achievements highlight the growing market for African representation when it comes to the global brands, and there's room for everyone to thrive, and there's no need for all this bantering of I'm the first, I'm not the first, she's the second, so I want to use this medium, this platform, to congratulate both Temi and Oluchi for their remarkable achievements. L'Oreal Paris, with over 110 years, I think, of history, which continue to set the pace, in celebrating beauty and empowerment across all cultures. Sir, if you're there, I don't know if you can lend your voice on this trending story. I don't know if you saw it.
I've been following it. For me, I'm not interested in controversy. I'm interested in congratulating Temi for a job well done. If you have followed that young lady, she's worked very, very hard. Even when she appeared in one of the Bule Apolayon's movies, you can see the effort she put into it, having to learn how to speak French within a few months and all that. So she's not relying on her father's wealth. And because if care is not taken, this controversy will not go into, it's because she's the daughter of Femi Otedola. That is not the case. And I must congratulate our friend and brother, Femi Otedola, for being so tolerant. There are parents who say, I have all this money in the house. They should join my vast business empire. They cannot go into acting. They cannot go into beauty. They cannot go into music. But we can see that the children are all doing very well in their chosen careers. And that's what should concern us. And those of us who don't have that kind of money, it should encourage us that, hey, let our children breathe. Whatever they desire to do, let us encourage them to do it so well. And I congratulate Temi, I congratulate the mom, Nana Yame. She has been a beautiful mother and a role model to all the children, and I'm happy that they are making the family proud, and our country, Nigeria, is very proud of them.
Many thanks for joining your voice in congratulating Temi Otedola. The second trending story, I don't think I have much time to to take that. Unfortunately, we cannot take that, but I wanted to talk on the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that honors Chi Achebe and Professor Wole Soyinka by naming N20 and M18 roads after them. But unfortunately, we ran out of time. But many thanks, sir, for creating time to do this with me. You know, you've been an icon and a father. That's the word I will use to describe you today. A father, an uncle. You wear many hats, you know, when it comes to me. But I try to remain professional when you're on this platform. You know, but many thanks for constantly honoring my invitation. My family and I honors you so much, and we wish you continued success in all your endeavors. Thank you so much to our resourceful guest, Chief Basharu Dele Momodu, for creating time to lend your voice on issues that affect us all as Nigerians. On this note, this is where I draw the curtains of the show. Till I come your way on Thursday, remember to catch me on Inspiration FM 92.3 tomorrow at Drive Time Show. Bye now.